All right, so are you ready to dive in?
Always.
Today we're going deep into cyber espionage.
Yeah.
But with a twist, it's not just about governments hacking each other anymore.
Right.
Things are getting a lot more, well, messy. We're talking cybercrime syndicates teaming up with nation states.
It's really fascinating, actually.
So let's talk about what's going on. What's changing in the world of cyber espionage?
Well, what we're seeing is it's like a blurring of the lines between, your traditional state-sponsored espionage and then the world of cybercrime, which is often financially motivated.
I see. Okay, so it's not just governments doing this for, like, national security reasons anymore.
Exactly.
There's more at play.
Definitely.
Okay, so then give us an example. Like, what's a concrete example of this new kind of hybrid cyber warfare?
Well, there's this new report by Microsoft. It's really interesting. And it reveals that Russia, China, and Iran,
Okay.
they're all kind of increasingly collaborating with these criminal hacking groups
Ooh.
to carry out these cyber espionage attacks.
No way. Seriously. Like, they're actually working together.
Yeah. They're basically outsourcing it.
Outsourcing espionage. Wow.
Yeah. It's interesting because it's kind of a win-win situation in a way, right?
Mm.
These governments, they get to increase their cyber capabilities without having to go through all the overhead of
Yeah.
building their own teams and stuff.
Right, right.
And then the hackers, well, they get potential protection
Mm-hmm.
and maybe some new opportunities to profit.
So how does this actually work in practice? What are these groups doing, like, on a day-to-day basis?
Let's look at some specific incidents. One that comes to mind is this Iranian-linked group. They hacked an Israeli dating site.
An Israeli dating site. That's so specific. Why would they do that?
Right. So it seems like their aim was to steal personal data,
Mm-hmm.
maybe to sell it later, or even just release it publicly for maximum humiliation.
Oh, wow.
Hit them where it hurts, maybe make a profit too.
Huh.
Pretty brutal.
Yeah, that's intense. So that's Iran. What about Russia? What are they up to in this whole game?
So we saw this Russian-linked group
Hmm.
actually breach Ukrainian military devices,
Okay.
but their objective seemed to be purely about intelligence gathering,
Mm-hmm.
likely to support what's happening in the war,
Mm-hmm.
not really for direct financial gain.
That makes sense, yeah. So it's about sowing chaos, weakening support for Ukraine, that sort of thing.
Exactly. Classic tactics, but in the digital realm.
Okay, so we've got Russia, we've got Iran. What about China? What are they focused on?
Well, China's interesting. They've been focusing a lot on disinformation campaigns,
Okay.
but these are very targeted. Like they've been messing around with smaller local elections here in the U.S.
Really?
Yeah, trying to influence things at a more granular level.
Interesting. So not just going for the big one like Russia.
Right, they have a different strategy, but of course they haven't forgotten about Taiwan or their other rivals in the region.
Right.
There's definitely a lot of cyber activity going on there, too.
Okay, so it sounds like all three of these countries are really stepping up their cyber game.
Definitely.
Mm-hmm.
And their motives and tactics are constantly evolving, which makes it even harder to counter them.
So this is definitely something to keep a close eye on. It sounds like the future of, well, everything is at stake here.
Absolutely.
This is kind of scary, to be honest.
Yeah.
I mean, we all hear about these cyber attacks all the time, but it always feels far away.
Right.
Like it's not really affecting us directly. But this feels different.
It is, in a way.
It's a direct attack on, well, on everything.
It's not always this big explosive thing.
Right.
It's more of like a slow burn,
That's a good way to put it. Like a slow erosion of trust.
Exactly. The manipulation, the disinformation, it just keeps dripping, dripping,
But
dripping.
then we wake up one day and everything's different.
Exactly.
So what can we even do about it? I mean, it feels like we're going up against these massive, powerful forces, governments, criminal networks. What can one person do to protect myself?
It's a common question, and it's understandable to feel overwhelmed. But the thing is, we're not powerless in this.
Okay, good. So give me some hope here. What can we actually do?
It starts with awareness. The more we understand about, the tactics these guys are using,
Mm-hmm.
the better we can protect ourselves, right?
Knowledge is power, that sort of thing.
Yeah. I mean, think about it this way. You wouldn't, walk down a dark alley at night without being careful, right?
No way. Not a chance.
Right. You'd want to be aware of what's around you. Maybe you even take a self-defense class. Who knows?
Yeah.
This is kind of similar.
Okay, I like that. So be more aware of the threats online. That makes sense. But what else can we do?
Well, think about it. You want to be careful about what you're consuming, what you're sharing.
Like online.
Exactly.
So you're saying don't believe everything you read, double check everything.
Yes. Don't just accept everything you see on social media or, frankly, even in the news, for that matter.
True.
Take a second. Look at the source. Who's saying this? Why are they saying it? Are they giving you the whole picture?
So be a critical thinker.
Exactly. And remember, just because somebody you know shared something, your friend, your uncle, whoever,
Oh, yeah.
doesn't mean it's automatically true, right?
No, definitely not. My aunt shares some pretty wild stuff sometimes.
Exactly. And that's why it's good to, like, have those conversations,
Okay.
Say something. If it seems off, if it seems misleading, gently point it out.
Look out for each other.
Yeah. Be proactive. Call it out. Disinformation, it thrives when we don't do anything,
Yeah. So we talked about being more careful about what we're seeing and sharing, but what about our own data, like our devices? What do we do about that?
Yeah, that's huge. We got to make ourselves harder targets. We need good cyber hygiene.
Cyber hygiene, I like that. What does that even mean?
It's like if your door's unlocked, you're kind of asking for trouble, right? Same thing online. So strong passwords are a must.
I'm so bad at that.
And I know it's tempting to just use the same one for everything.
Yeah.
But seriously, don't. That is just asking for trouble.
Yeah.
Unique passwords, every single account. Your email, banking, everything.
Okay. Unique passwords. Got it.
Two-factor authentication. Whenever you can, use it.
Two-factor, so that's when they send a code to your phone.
Exactly, an extra layer of security. Even if they get your password, they still can't get in.
Smart.
And of course, don't click on links from people you don't know.
That's a given.
Seems obvious, but you'd be surprised.
Right. It really is. Like walking through a minefield, but online.
Right. One wrong click and you're done.
Exactly. So we've got to be careful about the links, the passwords, all that. But this isn't just about protecting ourselves, right?
No, definitely not.
You said it yourself, this is about democracy. And that's a much bigger thing than just me being careful about my passwords.
It is. But it also starts with us, with being informed citizens.
Okay, so what does that even mean in this context? Like, what can I do? I read the news, I try to stay informed.
It's more than that. Think about the elections, cybersecurity, all that. Are you really digging deep?
I guess maybe not as much as I could.
Right, so read those articles, yeah. But find the experts online, too. Follow them. Educate yourself. See what they're worried about.
So I shouldn't just rely on, like, my social media feed.
Exactly. Don't let those algorithms decide what you see. Be curious, Go find the information.
Because it's easy to get stuck in a bubble, for sure.
Totally. And that's when those critical thinking skills are so important. Any information you see, ask yourself, who's saying this? Why?
Okay, so, like, be my own fact checker.
Exactly. And if something seems off, say something. Question it. Talk to people about it, even if it's uncomfortable, especially if it's a friend or family member sharing it.
Because if we don't, then nothing changes.
Exactly. This is on all of us. We can't just sit back and hope for the best. This is how we defend democracy now. It's not just about voting anymore.
Wow. I never thought about it like that, but it's so true. This has been a real eye-opener. Thank you so much for explaining all of this, for giving us the tools to, fight back.
Absolutely. My pleasure. Just remember, stay informed, stay vigilant. That's the key.
It is. So to everyone listening, think about it. Every click, every share, it all matters. Let's make the internet a better place. Until next time, stay safe out there.